Hey, I was asked to do a quick video about the Wes Craven film Deadly Friend. Excuse me. Primarily, Wes Craven took the offer to direct this film because his agent told him, if you don't break out and do a film like this, you'll be stuck doing small films for the rest of your career. So Craven took the offer. And Deadly Friend is about a shy, loner, smart teenager who builds a robot named BB and happens to meet his sweet next-door neighbor, played by Christy Swanson. And Sam has a rough home life. She lives alone with her abusive father. And it's a subject that just really rings true the way it was done in the film. And it also stars Mama Fratelli from The Goonies, and I'm sorry I forget her name at the moment, but she was a very talented actress herself. She actually died fairly young, in her 50s, her late 50s I believe. She died of cancer. And actually having cancer gave her that trademark appearance, and the fact that they had to cut part of her tongue off so it slurred and changed and gave her that famous speech pattern that she's known for. She has a brief role in the movie as the nasty neighbor woman. Wes Craven had wanted to make the movie focus more on the relationship between Sam and her neighbor, and actually focus more on the adults of the neighborhood being the real monsters of the story. And of course the studios made Wes Craven go back and refilm violent and gory scenes, including a shock ending, which Craven really wasn't happy about. He wasn't happy about adding in any of the scenes and changing the movie, but he chalked it up to, what can you do? It was the president of the film studio that he made the movie for, so he couldn't really gripe about it while on the job. Anyway, the movie is a really sweet movie. It has pretty much a little bit of everything. It has a nice love story. It has really cool special effects with the robot. It has really good gore effects and creepy, dreamlike scenes. I just really enjoyed it. And for a while, only the cut scene was shown, without the violent scenes for the most part. And recently it got released with all the cutscenes intact. And another film that I watched is called Somebody's Watching Me, and it stars Adrian Barberio, and it's written and directed by John Carpenter. It was a made-for-TV film, but it was written to be a theatrical film. But it's a very well-done, made-for-TV suspense movie. Even though it's a made-for-TV film, you can still see a lot of the talent and the trademark that John Carpenter has. A lot of creepy, suspenseful scenes. It's about a woman who moves to Los Angeles and takes a job at a production company. And her job is directing the cameras, camera 1, focus more on camera 2, or focus on what's happening that's being filmed. And let me see here for a minute, sorry. It stars Laura Hutton, and as I said, Adrian Barberio. And at the time she was married to John Carpenter, And in fact, John Carpenter helped jumpstart her career when they were married. They divorced some years ago. And Adrienne Barberio plays kind of the snarky, wise-ass, but caring friend. She played a lesbian in the film. And it was a big deal at the time, as her role was predatory or, creepy, trying to pull the main female's character. She was just a regular nice friend. And anyway, the main plot is that Laura's character starts receiving really strange, menacing phone calls and really bizarre gifts. And she notices things like things are moved around in her apartment, or the shower is left on, or her front door is left open, and her landlord and the cops just chalk it up to, oh, it was so-and-so dropping a delivery off, and you're just making something out of nothing. And she's like, what am I supposed to do? This guy keeps stalking me and threatening me over the phone and leaving me all these weird gifts. What am I supposed to do? Just call you when I'm dead? And another thing that I thought was interesting was the movie was how not seriously stalking was taken back then. Even now, it's still not taken completely seriously to a certain degree. Victims have a lot less rights than the people that are tormenting them. You have to have evidence on video, etc., that the person is harassing you. Just real frustrating. It really puts you in the main character's shoes. And as I said, it's kind of a more Hitchcockian film. It's not a slasher film. Michael Myers doesn't show up with a knife. It's more of a suspense thriller. It's not about the body count. And I just really enjoyed it. And lastly, the last film I'm going to talk about is called... Sorry, I forgot it. The Hand, starring Michael Caine. And I talked about this before, I think, on Facebook last year. But it's considered a B-grade movie. It's directed by Oliver Stone. Yes, that Oliver Stone is kind of a weird film that he decided to direct. And Michael Caine loses his hand in a car accident when he's arguing with kind of his kind of, I don't want to say nasty wife, but kind of a nagging wife. They have a very volatile relationship. So he loses his hand and it miraculously starts following him and committing all these crimes. And of course, no one believes Michael Caine. They're like, what the hell? A severed hand isn't able to do that, committing crimes. You're nuts. And Michael Caine kind of laughed the film off and said, yeah, I took the film to buy a new car. It's the same reason he took the part in Jaws Part 4, which is pretty much kind of panned. And The Hand kind of takes itself pretty seriously, and I think if Michael Caine wasn't in it, he's such a good actor, that the film wouldn't have been as good as it was. So even though it has a kind of corny, campy premise, I was so creeped out by it and really enjoyed it. And lastly, I'm going to talk about Eyes of a Stranger, which was made in the 80s. And it stars Jennifer Jason Leigh in an early role. She plays a role as a blind and mute young woman. And her older sister is a news reporter, and she's really frazzled from local murders, stranglings, and rapes, and just how the law and the community is just kind of just not not caring about them, kind of not making a mockery of it, but just not really caring about them, saying, oh, the police are doing their job, blah, 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 let it go. And while she's on the news doing her report, she turns to her co-anchor and says, well, for this time, the law wasn't able to help this young woman. And the person in the control room says, there she goes again. And it's just a really interesting, kind of sleazy movie. It has, frontal nudity of the women, gory beheadings and stabbings. And the older sister of Jennifer Jason Leigh is determined to find out, who's responsible for the murders. And then she starts being stalked and followed. So it's a very interesting, kind of forgotten about, sleazy B-movie. And overall, I really enjoyed them. They're on 4 separate discs on the Twisted Terror Collection, 4 film favorites from Warner Brothers. And overall, I just really enjoyed them. They put me in the mood for the Halloween season. And I think they have other such as well, like the original Hammer Horror Dracula films and the original Critters sequels. So that's it for now. Kind of a short review or a long review if you find this tedious. If you have any suggestions, or if you agree with me or disagree with me, then clickety-click in the comments below and leave me something. And that's it for now. Thanks.